right? Yeah, so.
Saying that you're never gonna have one?
No.
Okay.
So to that question, you can always make an amendment even at a period before the biennial review. If an occasion arises in which the commission desires to now implement a treasurer position, then it can direct the director to revisit the policy and present that new proposal at the upcoming commission meeting ahead of the biennial review. So the biennial review is a baseline for us to establish that every 2 years, we're going to put into practice reviewing these policies to make sure they're still relevant and up to date with any changes in any of the laws. But we could, but definitely, because we have the original, existing policy, that treasurer language doesn't disappear. We can always pull from that previous policy to re-implement it at a later time when the commission decides it may want to now add that position.
Okay, let's just take it out for the time being. Any further discussion on Guam Ethics Commission Policy 4? Any other notables, Director?
No, other specific changes, Mr. Chair, it really is just, cosmetic again. Now that the commission has clarified that the positions will be chairperson and vice chairperson, should be consistent with the statute, because the statute really only spells out that there shall be a chairperson. We've included the vice chair as a continuity of leadership in the event the incapacity of the chair, for whatever reason, we have a backup. Yeah, correct. And then I did not amend or modify in any way the terms, but again, that's available for the commission to discern if they want to make any changes. But essentially, it's that the leadership is elected to a 1-year term and that no commissioner may serve for more than 2 consecutive terms. And each commissioner serves for a 4-year term. If you get reappointed, it's 8 years. Because it says consecutive terms, that means that a chairperson or vice chair could serve for 2 years, take a break for 1 year, and then get reelected to that position on the 4th year. Yes, yes. So you have room to still. Okay. And if I could ask for a motion to adopt GEF policy 4 as amended.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously to adopt Guam Ethics Commission Policy 4, the election of commission officers. Moving on, Director, Guam Ethics Commission Policy 5, Ethics in Government Program Training Fee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'd like to begin by saying that the training fee was established via resolution in 2021. What I'm proposing to the commission is now setting a policy other than an actual resolution. So a resolution is the commission's action in writing, while a policy is something that sets the framework for how we set the rule, or how we set, in this case, the training fee. The governance is set there in statute along with the resolution that was adopted, which is 2021-002, and that this applies to all employees specified in those designated sections there. This is covering a fee schedule for persons attending ethics training to fulfill the ethics in government program. And then the fee schedule, I wrote that the director shall prepare a financial summary for the commission on the total operational cost for the commission, along with conducting ethics training that satisfies the ethics in government program, that the commission may determine what amount and if any I just have to correct the spellings here. If any, to charge for attendance of an ethics training which would satisfy the ethics government program mandate. The fee schedule shall be adopted by a vote of 4 or more commissioners at a public open meeting, and all fees established by the commission shall be paid before officials receive evidence of having completed the required ethics training. I added a section for waiving of a training fee. So we do receive those requests, and this is just to spell out that such requests or petitions are only reviewed and approved at the commission level, and that the executive director is not authorized to waive the fee on behalf of the commission. And so you reserve the right to make that decision at a meeting through a vote of 4 or more members to either approve or reject all the proposals. I also added an annual report so that I'm directed by the commission to provide an annual report on the total funds collected and all expenditures made under said fund. At each annual review, the executive director may petition the commission to review the established training fee when necessary, and that the commission may update the fee schedule in accordance with this policy with the vote of 4 or more members at a public open meeting. And that's the full content of policy number 5. It does not. I imagine that I forget when we did the first one, but typically we are doing it at the close of a fiscal year. So you get the full year perspective, and then we would make the assessment for the next one, but. Yes, you did. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'll forward it.
Because I just want to bring up the one point we talked to the members about if we figured out how much we need for training and they increase our budget to include that training, then we can do the training for nothing. And in other words, they're just going to appropriate each agency for money to complete the training.
Right.
And this would be another way to do it. You know, so we just have a part of our appropriation.
That's right. That's right.
But do we do that for accountability? Because, for example, if they're getting it for free, what's going to entice them to actually, at least with that appropriation, they have some skin in the game to say, hey, I'm spending X amount to send you to ethics training. So you better go.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, all
I
valid
guess.
points of view.
Right. That's one perspective. I did have a question in regards to the waiver of the training. I recall one instance where we did waive the training fee, and that was for the UOG
Yes.
students, correct? Was that the only incident that we have? So,
Built into a public admin.
Correct. I believe
Yes.
so. Just very recent,
Yes.
yeah.
There was no other waiving of the fee for attendance. In fact, most of the other requests that we received at the commission level when this was first implemented was we had just finished ethics training with another instructor. Could you accept that training as having satisfied the law? In that case, the recommendation which the commission adopted was, yes, we'll accept it with the condition that moving forward, upon your renewal, you would take the required training with the commission. That didn't necessarily equate to waiving. We were just accepting that they did it through their own provider. But the University of Guam students was the only instance which we received and had approved for waivers. Yes. Right. Yes, and to surmise the policy, again, we're just putting in black and white how this fee is established, what actions required, and in this case, it's a commission action to waive any of the fee. And then the executive director shall prepare an annual report to the commission to say what was the total amount collected, as well as what was the fund used for, what did we spend it on? That's the substance of this policy.
Do we want to define or state the fee in the policy? Do we have to? Is that?
So, I left it out because you adopted, the fee as a resolution.
Okay,
So, we can adopt a resolution again in the future to set a new fee. Yeah, this policy is just saying how the commission even sets the fee. It's through
Understood.
policy, yeah. But it is possible. I mean, if you wanted to add, we could, I think we can maybe explore after the adoption, if that's consistent with other areas of jurisdiction. Maybe they have their own way of setting the fee, if any, and whether they put that in policy.
Help refresh my recollection, Director. What is the fee for GovCon employee?
It's $80, but it's not borne out of the employee personally. It's out of the government agency that employs that official.
Would you say one?
They used to pay 125 with the other provider. And then the legislature amended the law, bringing that under the purview of the commission. The commission had reduced the cost, so it's really at cost for the employee.
All right, any further discussion on policy 5, Guam Ethics Commission Policy 5?
If I can request, if there's no other discussion, that the motion be to approve subject to technical and grammatical corrections. I just saw a few points that I might want to, yeah, clarify the grammar. But other than that, yes.
Can I get a motion to adopt Guam Ethics Commission Policy 5 as noted by the director, subject to correction of grammatical and other needed changes? Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously to adopt the Ethics and Government Program Training Fee, Guam Ethics Commission Policy 5. Again, subject to correction.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I now present to the commission a new policy. This is concerning authorizing and certifying officials of the Guam Ethics Commission, also known as GET Policy 6. And this is a policy pertaining to the employees and the executive director. So the certifying official certifies that payment vouchers are correct and ready for payment, and this officer does not have any physical possession of funds, but is responsible for correctness of facts. As we are obligating funds, government funds, this is to hold accountable who is the right employee that will certify that said funds exist, as well as authorizing officials who can attest that these payments have been approved on behalf of the commission. So this is again a statute. We have been identifying the authorizing official has been the executive director, and then as an alternate, the chairperson of the commission. The certifying officer has been one of the staff as primary, then the other staff members who have gone through at least the module 1 of their procurement training, and myself as alternates. We're just formalizing this as a policy and the designation of who shall serve as the authorizing and certifying official. So it is here written that the executive director shall serve as the primary authorized official, while the chairperson and vice chairperson of the commission shall serve as alternates. The commission by majority vote at an open public commission meeting may designate other persons as alternate authorized officials as necessary. So in the event there's a temporary acting director, or maybe you found another director to serve as an interim, you can designate them as an authorized official. The executive director will designate an employee to be certifying officer, and to accomplish these designations, we simply have to complete and submit those forms to Department of Administration. And then DOA would maintain that information for their record keeping. So that in essence is the policy. Since we've already designated it, I wanted to have a formal commission policy to defer how we designated who to serve in what capacity.
Thank you, Director. Any further discussion from the commissioners on Guam Ethics Commission Policy 6, authorizing and certifying officials of the Guam Ethics Commission? All right. Can I get a motion to adopt Guam Ethics Commission Policy 6? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously to adopt Guam Ethics Commission Policy 6, the authorizing and certifying officials of the Guam Ethics Commission. Next up, Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The final policy for review is the travel policy of the commission. It's rather well defined, the purpose and how travel is approved. So all travel is done through a travel authorization request that is prepared by the office. Each travel must be approved by the commission or through the executive director. And then we highlight how we secure airfare and per diem, and then also the schedule for how we calculate the number of days in which the approved traveler obtains their authorized per diem. Yes, for federal. And of course, we've been following, since there's an absence of travel policy for the commission, we've been following DOA's travel policy. So in many ways, we've researched DOA and other autonomous entities to develop our own travel policy. So this policy is rather consistent with everyone in the government of Guam. The only difference, I suppose, would be how airfare could be secured. And so I'm specifying that there's two primary ways. The traveler, if approved for travel, could secure the airfare directly with the airline, provided that they get 3 quotes to show that they're only getting reimbursement for the lowest airfare that we have received quotes from. The other is the traditional way we've been following, which is purchase of a travel voucher. So there would be the office processing directly with the travel agent to book your ticket, and then you would take that respective ticket from there. But right, yeah. So
The 3 quotes work then in that.
the 3 quotes would probably work where you would get a quote from the vendor directly. You could also get it from Google Flight, or you could get it
Oh,
Expedia.
understood.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
as an example. But this opens that opportunity because I imagine some prefer to just book directly and have their traveler member number indicated or be able to communicate. Changes is easier if you booked it yourself than to go through a travel agent. Recognizing what has been the challenges in the past, working with a travel agent.
No, 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 no.
Yeah. We also put in, of course, post-trip, the requirement of a trip report, and then we set timelines. So within 10 business days upon the return to Island of Guam, that we would prepare the necessary forms to get clearance. Yeah. So the request would be to approve the travel policy. It's,
For example.
yes, it'll be based on the approved federal per diem rates. We said what a prudent person would expend on yes.
Any further discussion, commissioners? Can I get a motion to adopt Guam Ethics Commission Policy 7, the Guam Ethics Commission Travel Policy?
Second that.
Any further discussion? Once more. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving forward, we have item 5B, the review and adoption of standard operating procedures. Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I believe the first standard operating procedure would be the ethics complaint manual. If you recall our September meeting, we bifurcated the discussion in three ways, I suppose. We had ethics complaints, ethics training certificate creation, and then operations. So we begin with the ethics complaint manual. If a new employee or existing employee needs to reference how, say, I think we put it here. We put down the purpose and scope of this manual, the background of the commission and the mission of the commission. We specify what is the role of the Ethics Commission staff and their key responsibilities to compile the record, to scrub for any conflicts, maintain confidentiality, communicate and assist our counsel in the preparing of the review. And then we also specified what's included when preparing the case file, including the introduction and then the process of establishing said case file. For the ethics complaint form, we spell out the areas of jurisdiction, the maintaining confidentiality, the filing of false charges, appointment of investigators, and the timeline of investigation. And then you'll see the SOP from here. So again, we hope to have this consistent. It's rare, I suppose, to see a government agency come up with SOPs, but we took the position of if we had a new occupant and they needed to know how to perform the function of this commission, they have the policy to guide what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. And then we have the role of the SOPs to say how to perform that said job. And we worked with each of the staff members in compiling said policy to ensure that what we put in practice is what we placed in this SOP. And I asked the commission to approve the policy. Yes, ethics complaint. If you want, for the sake of time, I could just talk about all three at once. Yeah, the second one is on the invoice and certificate manual. So this tells how we prepare the issuance of invoices. So when we do an in-person workshop, we review the sign-in sheets. Then we prepare the agency invoice. We log that in a master invoice log. So we keep account of every invoice that's issued by the office. We upload the generated invoice into our digitized drive, and we transmit that electronically. Then we also said at the end of each month that we would follow up with each agency, and then we do have a point of contact at DOA to work with the line agencies, the non-autonomous agencies. For online modules, we receive a monthly summary from our web developers on all the participants that complete. So we review that said report, we prepare the invoice, we log it into the same master invoice log, then we generate the invoice and transmit that to the employees while copying DOA. And then for the ethics certificate creation and filing procedures, so this just spells out that they must first verify that the invoice has been paid before we disperse the certificate. We'll log that certificate in our master certificate log. We generate it and then send that certificate for review by the staff before we upload it to the drive and then disseminate it to the department and the participants. And that's in summary how we generate invoices, and then once the invoices are settled, how we generate certificates of completion. The final SOP is on our financial management. And without going into detail, this is a step-by-step on how an individual who's requesting for a purchase would initiate the purchase request, and that it goes through the same reviews by 3 different levels. It starts off by the requester, the purchasing officer, the certifying officer, and then myself as the approving officer. Once those are done, we did a chapter on how we handle our petty cash. So we have a petty cash custodian. we have a certifying officer, and then we have myself as the authorizing, and then it also spells out that I can do both announced and unannounced inspections of the petty cash fund to make sure that the cash is tallied correctly. And I ask for a motion, a grouped motion to approve the three manuals as standard operating procedures.
Any further discussion? All in favor of adopting our standard operating procedures, 1, 2, and 3, the ethics complaint manual, invoice and certificate manual, and the financial management manual? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next up, we have the review and approval of fiscal 2025 budget request.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So if you see in your packet, I presented the proposed budget request. Technically, this is early because I'm required to submit to the commission this budget request by the end of January. But I'm giving the commission time to review. You can either decide to approve this request today, or we can take time for fielding recommendations and other items you'd like us to add on, and then present the updated version at the January meeting. But to show you what the staff have come up with, we've included the adjustments in the salary and the benefits here. There was some savings with the migration of the insurance plan to self-funded, so that's why those amounts are slightly lower. And then we maintain the same level of funding for travel. We've shown that that's sufficient. Contractual services went up slightly. I now get into the breakdown in a subsequent page. Office space rental will remain the same. Supplies was a slight reduction, or quite a bit of reduction, and then a slight reduction on miscellaneous. And we have the same price for our telephone. No, drug testing would be for new recruitment. So this is how we saved. We do still have the vacant line for an ethics investigation and compliance officer 1. I discussed with the team the current work demands and whether or not we can handle that level of demand with our existing workforce without requesting for funding for that vacant line. They said yes. So we're not funding that line in the upcoming fiscal year. We're going to maintain operation status quo with the 3 staff and myself as executive director. So that saved us quite a bit from any raise in costs. And then travel again is just to Koval. It's only 1 trip that's been budgeted. And then this is our contractual costs. So you'll see for each item, this is the requests column, and then this is the authorized, and then there will be a variance. When the variance is 0, that means it was requested last year and funded, so there's no change. There is a variance with conflict counsel contract, so I'm requesting in FY25 that we add a budget line to recruit another attorney for in the event there's a particular case in which both our legal counsel and our prosecutor have conflicts with either the complainant or the official. And this would be a third-party counsel. So that's, yes, that's the request. And then the website learning management software. So at the COGO conference, we've discovered that other jurisdictions are launching learning management softwares, and they've discussed to some detail what that cost might be to develop something. This is an enhancement to our ethics training online program. We'd like to explore purchasing said software so we can offer an enhanced online learning. This is 15,000 as a starting budget. We don't know yet what the full cost might be, but this would be my ask, is to include. Yes, yes. And then maintaining the COBO dues. Yes, yeah. The learning management software will allow us to create tracks for specific roles in the government, whether you work in management level or your frontline customer service. That's the vision for us, is to create modules that are centered towards the specific role the employee plays in the government of Guam, because they all, in essence, deal with certain types of risk. Not everyone's gonna have the same level of risk based on their capacity. To offset the increase of 15,000 in those categories, I've eliminated the cost for certificates. We're gonna try to revert back to sending digital certificates in order to support the cost for. Yes, yeah. And then for equipment, there's none that's listed, and then for miscellaneous, it's just for our meeting advertisements, stipends, procurement training. Then AS400, I eliminated because we're doing the web-based FMIS. I'm hopeful that we won't have to spend any more for AS400. And then the postage, I've added a new cost, which is the paying of a venue rental for when we do these workshops. So this is ideally what would fully fund the commission without the need to pass on a training fee to the employee or to the other government agency. So the bottom line for this request, if I can go back to the first page. So from 531,000, it would raise slightly to 557,000. Yes, so about a $25,000 increase to explore enhancements in our online learning on the learning management software and to add a conflict counsel. And then we offset the large increases by remaining vacant, the one full-time equivalent position, and then canceling the printing of certificates in the upcoming year, and then possibly saving from not required to have an AS400 license.
The budget was, you know, for- I was thinking of this more, social media,
Mm,
be like.
Yeah.
Something that they develop, art, and if they put it.
you know, we planned, yes. We plan to, in fact, when we got back from the COCO conference and they talked about the reach of social media, we were already discussing what might be our social media calendar of what days we're gonna post and what platforms we want to be present in. So now that we're hiring someone, we're kind of, I don't know if they don't like me because I said, let's just add this. I think we can probably do this.
There are people who are like really good at it.
Yes,
You
yes.
guys are, but I
Yeah.
don't. Because-
That's a good point.
But,
Yeah.
you know,
We could budget for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm, mhm. Right.
Just because they're part of it.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And also other people who aren't.
Right. Like from New York, Alex Kipp really had a great story about how the use of social media really blew, their organization became so popular because it got viral. I figured, I mean, the more people know whether they work in government. Yeah, no, like. Yes, yeah, well, for social media, we don't, we just kind of base it off our. Yeah, right, right. Yeah, there's room for flexibility, you know, like. Right, 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 yeah. So maybe what I'll do is I'll revisit this budget presented at the January meeting with that number included. And then we won't ask for an approval today, but at least you have an idea of what that budget looks like today. Mhm. Oh, no worries. I'll represent it because again, the mandate to have the budget approved is the end of January. So this was early. Just to get exactly this, which is feedback, what else you'd like to be included. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, we have to present.
Mhm.
But then it could be changed, right?
Yes. Yes, yes, right. And that's it for the budget, Mr. Chair. So I'll make those comments noted in the draft that I'll present at the commission's January meeting.
No, I would say to reach out to.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But then it comes out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kogo launched a repository of ethics training resources that we've already begun to, explore. Right. Yes, yes. So, yeah,
And they rerate something.
I'm sorry about that. I,
Did you do that?
yeah, it happened to me. But I also wrote it on pen and paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, you know.
No. But that's it, Mr. Chair. We can move on to the next agenda item.
Any further discussion on the FY 25 budget, commissioners? All right, moving on to 5F. The review and approval of the executive director's performance eval and pay adjustment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So to brief the commission on the status of achievements within this last year to which I'm being rated. The first goal was to become a recognized member of the Council on Governmental Ethics Laws, otherwise known as COGO, a prestigious professional organization dedicated to promoting ethics in government. So I'm pleased to announce that the commission has become an official member of COGO. And since then, our staff have actively participated in numerous seminars and trainings covering a wide range of topics, including investigative best practices, training and outreach, and freedom of information roundtables. Notably, the commission has made a significant contribution to the 2023 Ethics Blue Book publication, which was unveiled at the esteemed 45th Annual Conference. This marks the first time the Guam Ethics Commission has been featured in this prestigious resource dedicated to ethics in governmental entities. Yes, yes, it's actually on the app too, the Kobo app. The other thing that was set as a goal was to ensure that the commission has sufficient and appropriate resources to carry out hearings pertaining to potential breaches of the standard of conduct. So I'm pleased to report that we were able to successfully secure 50% increase in the local appropriation from the general fund, which is including the additional appropriation from the Guam legislature in the amount of 126,000 from the audited fiscal year 2022 surplus funds to support the commission's operations. This authorization effectively addresses any unmet need resulting from the lack of general appropriation funding. The- Yeah. Oh, and unfortunately, the audit proved that it exists, and so we were able to get that transferred in. The third goal was to create a comprehensive procedure for the commission to receive and resolve complaints. So again, I reported that we received a total of 27 new complaints this calendar year. 10 cases are still under consideration, but we actually just dealt with 8 of them today. So it's now whittled down to 2. And then 17, which is now increased by 8. It's 25 are now complete. Right, we haven't received anything back, and the statute's unclear if we are owed a response back. The only response that was received was that they acknowledge receipt of the case files, but it is a good question and one that I'll discuss with legal as to whether we can follow up if such action, but if I understand correctly, the Attorney General's office has discretion whether to pursue prosecution of those criminal cases. So it could have been still under investigation, or the decision could have been not to pursue prosecution. Those are the options after it's been referred.
Like.
And we could, I'll confer with legal. If necessary, I could prepare a letter to the agent's office to inquire if there might be a status to share. And then if we do receive a response, I'll share that with you. Statute of limitations, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we'll prepare something. So in addition to the complaints, we also received this year 3 requests for advisory opinions. The first time we've been receiving them. We continue to promote that at every ethics training. 2 opinions have been issued. The final opinion was issued today, so thank you for that. What I failed to include here was we also published our first edition of the summary of opinions, right? So that was one thing that we were able to make good on for that particular goal. Provide professional development activities for commission staff. So I reported again in September that the director and 2 ethics investigators were pursuing the leadership professional in ethics compliance designation, which is a global designation offered by the Ethics Compliance Institute. We've become a member and we fulfilled the course requirements. We're waiting for scheduling of the testing exam. So that might happen at the early part of 2024. Yes. For filling the remaining vacant seat on the commission, so a candidate was identified after expressing interest. Their name and curriculum vitae were provided to the governor's office for their consideration. That review is complete and the team is now working with the candidate to prepare their application for submission, and that the appointment is anticipated to coincide with the beginning of the term of office, which is May 2024. Further to that plan, we've also identified 3 other individual candidates who have expressed interest. So what we're now building is a listing. What we'd like to do is, in the event there's a foreseen or unforeseen vacancy on the commission, we immediately have a roster in which we can refer a name up for consideration so that we can maintain the continuity of operations here. So we figured that was a gap we needed to address, and so we built in some safeguards there. The next goal, because last year I only had 4, but this year I have 4 plus 4, was conducting ethics and government workshops. So we've conducted a total of 18 live workshops, and this is one that I'm really proud of. So we've conducted less workshops, but maintained the baseline we set last year. What we've done is reduce the overhead costs for conducting these workshops, so lessening the financial burden to the commission. And what was further accomplished was maintaining that baseline despite the disruption caused by Typhoon Mawar. So in that period of 6 or 8 weeks of lack of productivity, we were still meeting the goal set by the commission at the beginning of the term. So we're really happy with those accomplishments, and that's largely attributed to successfully implementing the online learning module. So that's been able to cover a big gap. What I didn't include here, but just for the record, in September, I presented a list of about 10 agencies that are less than 10% compliant with the ethics training. From those 10 agencies, we've eliminated 9 from that list. So we just have 1 that's left on that list. Who is? It is the biggest. It is the biggest. So we're working with them, but they have quite a bit on their plate. So I imagine we'll get some time. Yeah, we'll work on it, Mr. Chair. But and at least that's 90% off of that delinquent list. Yeah, so we're really pleased with that. And then the 3rd year in a row, we got 100% compliance with submission of the ethics training compliance report by every government office. And that is available on our website again for download for the 3rd year in a row. The final one is the performance position study. So I'm just showing that we reached full completion. So following the commission's approval, we established the Ethics Investigation Compliance Officer position series in the classified service for the government. We opened a search in April. We received 10 applicants, interviewed 5, and of the 2 were selected, and then they've accepted. And that these positions continue to be fully funded in the FY24 budget, and we hope to have that funding sustained at 25. No, too. Yeah.
Okay. You have nothing left to do.
No, I'm sure I can find a few. Yeah, so now I present it back to the commission for their discussion and feedback.
So will we, help you to develop your performance goal for next year?
You sure can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in fact, where I got most of these goals was at last year's evaluation, there were areas of improvement.
Yeah,
So other than Kogo, what stood out the most, it's like getting a member,
yeah.
continuing to do outreach and working with government agencies. So that's what facilitated me creating those, you asked if this was delivered.
Your comment.
Yeah,
I think, I'm so sorry. Now,
yes, yeah.
but. And Dr. Jack, and they didn't finish their good.
Yeah.
That's to say, is this something that, I get the evaluation? I think already, yeah. Or, so, coming from the development part. Yeah. Yeah, could you like put them all together and then we can create something?
Get everyone's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. We can also prioritize.
Right, right. Right. And if you want to add anything to be included, you can put that in your notes, or if you've already sent it like I received from
I just.
the chair and
Yeah.
Commissioner Shannon. Yeah. So we can add that. You have it add that. Yeah.
And you guys can add some too.
Pay it forward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a team effort. Yeah. It's been amazing. As I was writing this, I was like really, really, really satisfied with the level of accomplishments and reflecting on the year and what disruptions came by, and then also having to fight for the budget. Those were like real peak moments
Yeah.
of having to, you know, earn your grit, so to speak. So this was a good year, good learned lesson, I think, in a lot of different ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, kudos to you and the whole team for the job well done, this past calendar year. Keep up the good work moving into 24, right? We still have that big goal, right, to meet the training requirement by law by May, right? So I know that it's gonna come down to crunch time. So, keep up the good work, continue to focus and make things happen, with the cases that come our way. I know that lots of work happened behind the scenes for those. On top of staying as organized as you guys have, I think that's one of the major strengths of our organization currently is the fact that things are in order the way they are. Because I think that if we're kind of all over the place, things get messy real fast and it's hard to go back and figure things out, even a week later, right? So, yeah, kudos to you. Keep it up. And I am thoroughly satisfied with the work that's been being done. And I encourage it to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
My husband. Yeah.
So, is this required to be done today? What are we doing with your evaluation?
I mean, that's at the discretion of the commission. So it's on the agenda, but if the commission desires to bring it up in January, you can, or if you're ready to make a decision, you can. It's at the discretion.
Okay,
No, it's set by the commission. So my anniversary is at the evaluation period, but it could be January.
what is that? And what's that date?
It could be January. It was the beginning part of January.
It could be, okay,
Yeah, it was
All
the
right.
beginning part of January, which we're not gonna meet, but it's okay. Well, as long as it's, yeah.
okay.
Well, I feel more comfortable I'll turn it in and then.
Yes.
Yeah, so can I get a motion then to table this particular item? Five,
I think to table.
five F, the, review and approval of the annual executive. Sure, sure, absolutely, there's, sure, sure. All right, so the motion on the table is to table and then to set a date. Commissioner Mayor, I will propose our January meeting date as the date for that to have, be completed. Oh, you, okay, right, right.
Right.
So the
December.
motion is not for the submission of the evaluations. The motion is to review and approve the evaluation itself. So I'm saying the January meeting, you guys that didn't turn it in yet need to do that as soon as possible, right? That's not the motion. Again, the motion is to review and approve the annual executive director performance evaluation and pay adjustment by the January meeting date, which we don't have just yet.
The
Although
fourth-
I believe
the
it's
fourth
gonna be the
Friday
fourth, Friday,
is
yes.
January 26th.
All right. Okay, so we're all over the place. I just talked about organization and let's do it. That's gonna be the 26th
Yes.
of January. Yep,
Yes.
all
Mr.
right.
Chair.
So again, there's a motion and a second. All right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor of tabling I'm sorry, item five F, the review and approval of the annual executive director performance evaluation and pay adjustment. Oops. Sure. The pay scale? Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yes. Okay, and then, so we have a date as a added, and then to review the pay scale, if I'm speaking correctly, is that correct, Commissioner Dow? Okay. Okay, great, no need for motion, all right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries, item five F on our current agenda is tabled. Thank you. Five G,
Yes.
Director?
One more and then we'll conclude. So it'll be a quick one because the training is going to be done remotely. I just have to go through required by statute, the update to the procurement law. There was just one. And this was to ensure online timely posting of bids and RFPs on a dedicated government website. We complied with this even before enactment of this law, Public Law 3712. So we'll continue to comply and it's on the government notices website. So where we post our meetings, we also post out our bids and RFPs. This is the strategic plan activity that I'm gonna leave with you that you'll take and fill out. So this is reflecting on the 5 provided questions around the 3 statutory directives of the commission. Question 1 is, how can we enhance the efficiency and transparency of the investigative process for allegations of ethical misconduct within the Guam Ethics Commission? Question 2 is, in what ways we can optimize and improve the current mandatory ethics training to ensure it is effectively educating of individuals on ethical standards and practices? Question 3 is on what strategies can be implemented to increase public awareness and engagement with the Ethics Commission's annual summary of opinions, promoting a culture of transparency and accountability. Question 4 is how can we leverage technology to streamline and modernize the Ethics Commission's process, such as case management for investigations and delivery of ethics training? And then the final question is what measures can be taken to strengthen collaboration with other relevant entities, both within and outside of the government, to ensure a comprehensive and cohesive approach to addressing ethical concerns within the government of Guam. Those are the 5 prompts that I'm going to leave with you. And then our goal is to develop a strategic goal that sets that we are going to achieve each of these, promoting accountability and accessibility and connections with the community as a way to promote the mission of the Ethics Commission.
Was this something you can email us or write it down, or
Yes,
get
it's,
together and-
you're gonna,
Okay.
yeah, and then we're gonna discuss it further at the gym. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it for that item, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director.
There's no old business, but there are a few announcements to make. So the first one is confirmation hearing has been scheduled for Commissioner Meg Takenko. Her reappointment is scheduled for January 10 at 2 p.m. And Commissioner Leon Guerrero has been scheduled for January 12.
Do we all-
I've asked for that. It was denied several times. Several times I've asked. 2 p.m. for Commissioner Takenko. Time to be determined for Commissioner Leon Guerrero. Could be the morning. The 12th, which is a Friday, I believe. But at least if there's any consolation, Commissioner Leon Guerrero, at least should be prepared for the questions because Takenko will field them first.
To watch her TV, to watch her TV.
Yeah. But we are thankful for the committee for expediting the hearing. It was just transmitted before the holiday and they've already scheduled.
So,
Yes, Senator San Augustine. Okay. And then I will work with the respective commissioners to brief them and get them up to speed and prepared for what questions might come. Yes.
all right, we did
Yeah.
it, you guys. 4:59.
Man, any other announcements? Any other announcements? No other announcements? All right. Can I get a motion? Oh, I'm sorry.
I did have one, I don't know what to do with this request. It wasn't a birthday request, but the University of Guam reached out to see if I would be interested to teach a course for the upcoming semester, but that needs to get approval to moonlight. It's outside working hours, but I didn't know if the commission had any objections to teach a course. It'd be public finance and fiscal policy, you know. But yeah, so I just need to gauge if there's any objections. I'm good either way. I just wanted to present that because that was requested of me and I wanted to ask the commission. If the commission is agreed to it and I do accept, then I'll work with the chair to get the appropriate form signed for me to, yeah, for January. So I would have waited till January because I haven't decided if I'll do it, but the meeting for the commission happens after the semester starts, so I need to get an idea now if the commission has any reservations or objections.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the other commissioners. I don't have any issue with it.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I'll work with the chair offline with the forms.
All right, any other announcements? Team, any announcements? No? Everybody's antsy. But I have to stay on the agenda. Any other announcements? No, hearing none? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Second that.
Okay, I don't think we need a vote, but, yeah, all right, meeting adjourned at 5:02. Just a little bit over time. Happy New